PDF, not a normal. But yeah, so my name's Eva Salerno. I'm a graduate of the Basic Amp Skills program. At the time I did it, it was called Fearless Academy, 12-week boot camp. But I'm pretty sure it's a similar sort of um, kind of system in place of the what I went through and what you guys are doing. So yeah, I did it in Liverpool, and it was back in December when I began the course. I personally didn't have any sort of marketing experience, but now it's this role has really helped me, or say this program really helped me to get a job within marketing. And yeah, it really set me up to do what I'm doing now. So yeah, my current, sorry, this is not as efficient as I wanted it to be. My current role is I'm currently a customer experience and engagement lead at Fowdy's. Fowdy's is a women's football merchandise company based in Manchester. So I joined this company again, as I said, back in, well, yeah, it was back in March 23 after I completed the course. I initially started as admin assistant, and recently this month I've specialized into a more customer focused role, kind of because of what I ended up being good at throughout my time as the admin assistant. When I started the role, I kind of helped to integrate an email marketing strategy into the company. We didn't have a newsletter. We're a very, very small business. So I've really helped to work together with the team to kind of shape the business and make it more than just an online website where, you know, you can buy products and you have no sort of communication with the business at all. We've helped kind of get socials in place, and we're really kind of shaping our brand identity now. So my position within that is to just make sure that customers are engaged and there's clear sort of marketing across the entire company from as soon as you order to when you receive your product. There's a coherent brand branding across that as well. I also personally am very passionate about women's sport in general. Um, Kind of off the back of the Euros win with the Lionesses in 2022. I think that kind of was similar to a lot of people. But yeah, the fact that I get to work at a women's football focused company is something that I'm just really passionate about, and I'm just thrilled that I've got to stay on. And yeah, hopefully I get to stay on for as long as the company grows. And yeah, in my spare time, I just put in as well. I enjoy coaching grassroots football and then playing Gaelic football, which is Irish football. It's a bit different, but I'm sort of football mad at the moment. But before this position, I hadn't really done much within marketing. Whereas now my main duties would be, as I mentioned, kind of leading on customer marketing, customer service. I manage the inbox, kind of just overall experience. A lot of what I do now is due to what I learned on the program. You know, during the weeks, I got to learn about UX, UI design, um, even like the HTML week with Anita. I'm not sure if that's still on, but that was really helpful for me because I kind of got to learn more about even the back end of a website. I got introduced to Shopify, and now you know our company Fowdy's, we use Shopify, and it's really helpful to. It was really helpful to have had that initial introduction through the Basecamp course before going on to the role. Because now, I mean, I feel like I understand Shopify as well as as I can. But initially, when I had that week of kind of learning about Shopify, even like PPC ads, Google spent like things like um, performance marketing. There's a lot on the Basecamp course, but I found it really helpful when it kind of was split off week by week. And I can even reflect on that in my role today whenever I'm a bit confused about something. The slides that were shared to me at the time are still very relevant and helpful. Um, but yeah, I also just help to regularly review current systems with the operations team to kind of better improve fulfillment processes, which again is within like customer experience. Um, and then yeah, so I've just put in as well the most important tools and software that I use. These every single one that I've listed, bar the CRM system, was stuff that I was on because I had no experience before using it. I suppose with Klaviyo, it was a bit different. It was something that I had to look into as soon as I began my role. But Canva and Figma, I was introduced to on the Basecamp course, and I just find it super helpful, especially Figma for designing email templates. I think it's very helpful to then obviously see like the desktop beside you and then the mobile because you want to, make sure that it's clear on mobile, and you might need to remove certain elements of that for it to work on mobile, whereas on desktop it kind of just works well. I don't need to kind of change too much on that. And yeah, I've also just included my job. I thought might be helpful. So I mentioned my interest in Foudy's during come to a tutor, and then they kind of pass that information on. The hiring manager at the time, I believe, was Emily, and she's now head of talent at Basecamp Skills. But she got in contact with me to arrange the interview once the administration role became available, which I was absolutely chuffed about because I've been following Foudy's for some time. And then when I saw that, oh, there's actually a link to um, Basecamp and Foudy's, that I thought, well, Fearless and Foudy's, that I just thought I had to like say something and put a word in. So I really recommend that as well if you have any interest in kind of the partner companies. And yeah, so I had two successful interviews, and then I got offered the role late March. So yeah, I've been there ever since, and it's been really, really interesting and enjoyable.
Amazing. I
Um,
was jotting down just a couple of questions my side. Even we'll open to the group, obviously. So if anyone's got any questions, throw it in the chat and or raise your hands. But just from my side, obviously you've got your background and your interest was already there with Foudy's. How much do you think that helped stand you out compared to other people applying for the job? Because a big thing we try to push, especially when looking for a role, is be different. Otherwise, you'll probably end up just falling in with the crowd. Everyone's got a similar CV. So how much do you think that was the reason for you getting the role?
yeah, no, that's interesting. I suppose my as soon as I got the role, my manager told me after why I got it over someone else, and it was basically because of my passion for women's football in general. But then also in my interview, I made sure to kind of highlight that I want to join the company. I can apply like my new skills from the boot camp, but also um, I followed Foudy's, and I think it's important to be also passionate about the company you want to work for, not just the role. Like a role, for example, that was more would have more applied. Like for example, if you want to join directly as a graphic design assistant, then your core focus is just working with design. Um, you need to also be passionate about where you will be working to do the graphic design, because they will see, the employers will recognize if you want to work there or not, or you just want to kind of gain experience in the position. But I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, and to be honest, it rolled quite nicely over to my follow-up question, which was kind of the benefits that you found working for a smaller company. Because it sounds like you're doing quite a bit of everything rather than you've just come in and done that one area. So for you, what's the main benefits?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of always talking about this with our team because I think there's literally about six kind of core staff members, and then there's three senior management, including the CEO. So a big pro that we always talk about is how we have such direct communication with management and with the CEO. So like Helen Hardy founded Foudy's. We always kind of all have lunch together. It's very like um, it's very enjoyable because it's sort of like a little family. If you want that sort of um, if you don't want it to, if you, for example, sorry, if you work in a larger company, you will feel more like just a cog maybe in the machine that it's trying to push out. Than in a small company, you can see your direct impact and your direct responsibilities um, having an impact on the growth of the company. And because it's a small company as well, that growth is so dramatic and so big. Like we're seeing such big change right now because it's kind of what 3-year-old company. that's also enjoyable. But particularly because I'm new to marketing, and if anyone else was in a similar position to me without any prior one before this program, I would recommend small companies because you get to really apply everything you've learned on this course, and then see like where do you actually want to go within marketing, or if it is in marketing specifically, if it's more within like communications, or um, if it's more within graphic design and it's not advertising or whatever. It's really helpful to be able to get as such broad duties because there's so much to get done when you're in a small company that everyone pitches in. Like the operations director will be printing shirts on Tuesdays sometimes. We wouldn't see that in a larger company.
Yeah, you're kind of just thrown into the deep end, aren't you?
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
coming out of everything. Perfect, thank you. Is Zamina, you've got your hand raised?
Yeah, so basically my question was more around your portfolio work. So I wanted to ask, when you interview with founders, for example, did you present your portfolio and did you focus on specific aspects of it?
That's a great question. For that role, I didn't need to present a portfolio. I had it ready, but we ended up kind of getting sidetracked and talking about um, sort of if I've ever had experience working in fulfillment before. And I think for my particular role and what they needed out of me at that time, it was more administration and just general office assistance rather than my like a real marketing focus. I had to kind of push to get to do more marketing focused things because again they kind of didn't want to overload me with too much. But yeah, sorry, to answer your question, at that time, and no, I didn't need to, but I really recommend having it when you go into interviews. I remember Emily Moffat reminded as well before I went into if I needed any help bringing it. But yeah, I think having it there, I had it beside me when I had the interview. They could visibly see it. So yeah, I do recommend bringing it.
Amazing, thank you.
No problem.
And there was a question that's come through in the chat, which is, what made you decide to do the boot camp, and what was your job role before?
So at that time, I was currently resitting a year studying geography. I used to study geography. It was completely different in Wales at Aberystwyth University, and I was in my second year retaking that year. And I'd moved to Liverpool to begin work and just kind of resit my exams at the end of the year, but try and just like learn more and try and explore different roles because I thought, right, okay, this course isn't working for me, but I won't give up on it just yet. And then I began working as a fragrance consultant at Penhaligon's. And I was kind of like working in a customer focused role. I was learning a lot about business and how, you've KPIs you want to, even as like simple as like customers coming into the store converging. I had that was my first introduction to why businesses want higher conversion. I never really knew about business before that. So then I saw when I was doing working at Penhaligon's, I decided, okay, I still want more. I know that I enjoy business because of this new role that I'm in. So I seen Basecamp, well, yeah, it was Fearless Academy at the time, come up on, I believe it was Indeed. And then I've set in my application because I knew I was only working part-time at that time. And I wanted to learn as much as I could on my sort of reset year. But then I just loved the course so much, and I knew within like 3 weeks that I wanted to go into marketing. So I then left the course and then was kind of building up my portfolio and up until March. So yeah.
Perfect. I didn't know we did any advertising previously on Indeed. We might need to bring that back.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the job sites. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if we posted that or if someone else maybe,
Yeah.
and then checking with the team on that afterwards.
Yeah.
Perfect. And you mentioned something before, which I thought was quite interesting, that obviously you went into more admin based roles, but then you had the interest to go into marketing. And there's a big thing about, not just managers managing their team, but managing upwards. So how did you find the communication, speaking to Helen, speaking to the team about wanting to do it more in marketing? And how did you convince them to let you do that?
I think it was just about telling them about like as a consumer, what do I enjoy seeing and what is like a positive experience for me when I shop. So I was just in my company, we are constantly reviewing our systems and improving it. And Helen, my boss, she's always asking us, and she's always directly like asking the team, like, what do you think we could do more of? How can we improve our sales? So you are constantly trying to think. But because of the position I was in, I wasn't directly given um, marketing focused role, like as specifically marketing focused duties. But then I kind of pushed and I was like, look, I know I have an extra few hours on a Wednesday, for example. Why don't I take a look at our email marketing system at the moment? I know that Fearless was assisting with that, and we kind of needed more help on it. So yeah, it was just about like finding what I liked in marketing, which has always been email marketing and also kind of UX UI design. Like I really like improving usability on a site. So I wanted to make sure that some part of my day was focused around that and applying what I'd learned on this program. So yeah, it was just about like constantly like giving feedback and saying, I think we could do this. And to be honest, I don't think I could have done that in a larger company. You would have had to push harder to really give your feedback in. Whereas luckily for me, my managers were very open to feedback and wanted me to go wherever like they thought would help grow sales.
Perfect. It's one of those, if you don't ask, you don't get. So you're kind of
Exactly.
on it a little bit more, don't you? Amazing. Are there any other questions from any of the learners at the moment? Feel free to raise your hand or put in the chat. I have added to the chat everyone as well Fowdy's website. Definitely worth checking out and seeing the type of marketing activity they're doing and just in general. Absolutely amazing company. Like the growth that you guys are having is huge. But I can imagine it is also stressful when there are events like the Women's World Cup. Like that must just be
Yeah. Yeah, it was last year was a huge year for women's football, and I definitely felt that through the company. And we had so much sales. So I think this year, because there's no major tournament, we're going to have to really look at what can we do to engage with our customers and still have them and grow and double every year. And that's a big part of that is like just teamwork and coming together within the different departments, even if it's like technically 5 people per like one person per department at the moment. We want to still grow and expand that. So there's no major tournament, which is a bit annoying, but we hopefully we can put something together this summer with something exciting.
Perfect. Jay, you've got your hand raised.
Yeah, my question was, once you left the course, what kind of tasks were you doing to build your portfolio before you got your job offer?
Yeah, so at that current when sorry, so basically before I joined and joined Foudy's and before I had the initial interviews, I was still on the program. So I was building up my portfolio like similarly to what you guys would be doing. I believe I did my portfolio on, it seems like ages away now, but I did it on sorry, it's completely lost my mind. I did it on a fashion brand, but I was building that up. Obviously we then had to submit that as well. I was kind of just looking into again, I thought at that time that you needed to choose within marketing, like where do you want to go? Like when you finish the course, do we need to then be like, okay, I have to choose, do I go into design, or do I go into PPC? Do I go into um like UX UI? But whereas I realized afterwards, like you um from the final weeks of the course, they kind of really push that you should just reflect on all your learning and then maybe on your portfolio add in little bits like I really enjoyed this area of the course. However, I'm open to exploring more parts because obviously it is a 12-week course. So further down the line, you might find actually I want to specialize into this other area that I didn't really get to learn during the program.
Thanks.
Perfect. And Eva, if anyone does have any questions or wants to connect with you, are you happy for them to spam you on LinkedIn? I always
Of course,
say
yeah.
everyone adding everyone. I think that's
Yeah.
the still work.
Yeah, no, please do as well. I'm still like saying like new to marketing. I'm I would still like to learn more about it, and especially like the impact of AI as well on that, I find really interesting, and I think we're going to have to try and integrate into our current systems at Foudy's more as it goes on. So I think I'd love to hear like any thoughts or like yeah, I found like Slack really helpful when I was on the course because you just constantly shared ideas and it really actually inspires you in your day-to-day tasks when you're constantly hearing and working with people to like talk more about marketing. So yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Just on that AI one as well, we've had at Basecamp, Amy Wild actually found it. There's a tool called video.ai. And you just put in like some long form content. It's all free as well. And then it just breaks it down into loads of different clips, does it all for you, adds captions and everything. So that could be a fun one to experiment with. We did have another question just come through, which is, how did you find the job application for Foundies? Was it on LinkedIn? And were you primarily searching for roles there, or were you using different platforms?
Yeah, so I believe it was advertised on the Fearless Academy site at that time of current opportunities within Fearless. But I didn't actually need to apply directly onto it because I'd mentioned it to the tutor at the time, and my contact details were forwarded on to Emily Moffat, and she really helped to kind of set up application process for me, which was really easy. Like it made that process really easy for me because Emily set it up. So, but I seen it advertised as well on the Fearless site.
Yeah, perfect. And a big one that you kind of said there is kind of leaning on, I guess, the support team that you have around
Yeah.
you. Yeah, because you don't just want to become another number. So if you guys do have anyone and you find that there's a mutual connection, whether that's from Fearless or Basecamp or fellow learners, I would say lean on that and see if there can be a help with an introduction. That always goes a long way.
Yeah, definitely using your network really helped me personally. So I recommend that.
Amazing. Brilliant. Well, yeah, really appreciate that, Eva. Again, yeah, if anyone wants to connect with Eva, I'm sure you're happy to accept them. But what we'll do now is probably continue on in terms of working on the task we're doing before. So Eva, I'll let you off, but thank you for the talk. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.
See you later.
Thank you. Bye.
See you, Joe. I assume your groups are going to jump onto yours.
Yeah, my group actually, I think we might take a break, but I'll drop in the Slack channel what time we'll be back. All right.
Yeah, same with mine.
All right, perfect. Thanks, guys. Take care.
It forces me to go into a break, doesn't
See
it?
you later.
See you later. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, big one on that end one. Like, you'll find as well between Fearless Adventures and Basecamp Skills, we've all worked in so many different companies that there'll be an introduction to be made somewhere. Someone on the previous cohort has actually got a job at the Hook Group under my old manager, and like I know she was great, so I just dropped my old manager a message, just being like, just to clarify, she's a really good learner, will be really useful for you guys. So if you do find a role and there's anyone that you see is connected with that person or with a hiring manager or someone within the team, don't be afraid to reach out. Introductions go a long way. Okay, perfect. Well, yeah, they've forced my hand. Let's go into a break. We'll come back at 3 if that works for everyone, and then we'll work on some project stuff for the rest of the afternoon and do some one-to-ones. Amazing. Cheers, guys. See you then.